Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to bring you what's probably gonna be the final update on my current build, which is Toxic Rain, and we are currently around week 1 of the league. I believe we are after 6 days, so it's basically week 1, and I haven't done an update for a while, but that's mostly because there hasn't been really anything interesting happening the last few days. I wasn't really upgrading my gear. I was just farming simulacrums day by day, so nothing also changed in terms of the strategy. But yesterday I finally decided to use my currency, and I did end up buying a lot of upgrades, so I'm gonna talk about that today and about the simulacrum strategy. So first let's actually talk about simulacrums and how my build is currently doing in them. So let me actually show you highlights from the stream. So this is in 2 times speed, just so you can see it's faster. So currently my build is doing between 20 to 25 waves. My record so far has been 27 or 28, I actually don't believe, but I still haven't been able to reach wave 30. And a lot of people have been asking me, even before the league started, will my build be able to reach 30 waves? And well, my question was, well, my answer was, we don't really know how the scaling is gonna be, so it's gonna just depend how much harder the last 10 waves are than the wave 20. Because I was actually expecting that the scaling is not gonna be like that much harder, like that much bigger from the wave 20, and I actually was right. So the difference between wave 19 and 20 is actually very big. Like monsters gain a lot of life, a lot of damage, and so on. But if you go to like wave 21, the difference is actually not that big. The two biggest differences are the mods. So normally you can get during like wave 17 to 20, I believe, you can get around 40% chaos res. Monsters have 40 chaos res, but in waves like 21 and above you can get like 50, 60, so that's much higher. And also you just get more and more mods, so you end up with like a book of mods. If you can even get 2 resists on the monsters, so for example monsters can have chaos and fire resists. And I believe there are also some new mods that you can't get below wave 21, so that's also it. And the second difference is bosses. Bosses are much harder, especially if they have more and more life with each wave above wave 20. So they basically did the same thing that they did with Ravage Blighted map. So in case you don't know, in Ravage Blighted maps, bosses have insane amount of HP. So in Simulacrums it's pretty much the same. After you reach like wave 21, you're just gonna struggle with bosses. So the conclusion is the waves above 21 are actually very RNG, because if you hit very easy mods and you don't hit let me go D&D. If you hit very easy mods and there is no boss, I'm very often like getting 5 rewards even on like wave 24, 25. But if I do hit boss and there is, for example, chaos res, I'm pretty much leaving. There's like no reason to struggle with a wave for like 10-15 minutes, and in the end I'm also probably gonna not be able to finish it, like lose all of my 6 portals. It's just better in my opinion to go and do another simulacrums. And you probably are still making profit even if you do like 15-17 waves of simulacrum. So if you're doing 20, you're fine. It's not that bad if you're going to leave. Like for example, this is wave 22. So let's watch that. And what I did, and I crashed here. That's also the issue with simulacrums, the performance and crashes, and just I don't know how often I actually died because I pressed my dash and my game just lagged and I wasn't able to move, and it's actually very annoying, especially when the boss spawns. So what I actually decided to upgrade in terms of my build is actually damage, because I realized that the bosses have insane amount of life in Simulacrum, so I needed damage, so I sacrificed some survivability, and because of that I'm dying more often during earlier waves, but because of my damage I am actually capable of reaching higher waves, so I don't really care that much about dying. Like obviously this is softcore and I don't really care about leveling that much, so I'm just hoping to get to reach higher and higher waves. And is this build capable of actually doing 30 waves? I believe it is. It's just gonna be a little bit RNG, like you're gonna have to get easy mods, maybe only like encounter boss once or twice between waves 21 and 30, and preferably not during wave 30. And I also still need quite a lot of gear, but gear is mostly finished. It's just now most of the gear I want to get is probably around like 30x per item, so it's just gonna be much harder to get better gear. So let's actually look at the gear right now. So first thing, let's talk about the flask. So I actually removed life flask, and I am keeping it here. So if in case I am finishing like a wave and there's only boss left, I'm actually removing Dying Sun and putting my life flask in, so I have an easier time fighting boss. But it doesn't really help that much. Most of the time when I'm fighting boss, if I get hit, I just die immediately anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. For my mana flask, I am using Enduring, and I am using Immunity to Chill and Freeze. It doesn't really matter that much. I just notice I'm getting chilled very often in Simulacrums, so I am removing anyway all of my, well, one ailment when I use mana flask, but this just gives you another 13 seconds of invulnerability to freeze and chill, so I decided to go for this one. And thanks to this, I can basically remove Soul of Brine King, and I also have the 80% chance to avoid being stunned if you've killed recently on my boots. So Soul of Brine King doesn't really give me too much anymore, so I decided to go for Soul of Solaris to get some crit damage reduction and physical damage reduction. I didn't upgrade it yet, so I probably will end up doing that today, but that's basically the one I'm gonna go with for now. And in terms of crit, I actually also bought a Carcass Jack that is corrupted with you take 50% reduce extra damage from crit. So just some additional layer of survivability. This did cost me like 1 exalt, so it wasn't actually too expensive, and it helps a little bit. Okay, next flask is Steel Knight Flask, which just increase duration, increase effect and attack speed. It's actually still not rolled with 17%, so I should probably do that. And Jade Flask with increase effect and reduce effect of curses. So with this mod, it's actually still not tier 1, but with this mod, increased effect and all of the increased effect of my flask on the tree, I am pretty much curse immune. I believe it's like 90% curse effect reduced or something. And the last one is Forbidden Taste, with used when you take Savage Hit, and obviously right now I do have Chaos Resist cap, so it is countering the damage taken as life. And I am not using Life Flask because, well, let me just lose some life, a little bit of life for now. And when I am fighting monsters, I am getting so many flask charges that my flasks are basically used like this, and as you can see, my life just skyrockets. And this is thanks to the Master Surgeon. Like, recover 6% life when you use a flasks, and these have used when charges reaches full. So when I'm fighting a monster, they're constantly reaching full, and my life is just constantly being regained. I also have some life on kill here, so I have actually very nice recovery on this build. And again, Forbidden Taste is healing me from time to time. So that's it in terms of the flask. Now let's look at the gems. So I actually bought, I believe, like 5 Phantasmal Toxic Rains, level 16, and I leveled them up, and then I corrupted them, and I ended up with 2 Phantasmal Toxic Rain level 21. So I am actually using one, which is giving me +2 additional arrow, and second one I did sell for 20 exalts. I am also using Anomalous Efficacy, it's still not level 21, Empower level 4, which I actually got yesterday, Divergent Mirage Archer, which I corrupted for level 21, Void Manipulation. So this is an interesting one, because when you reach level 5, you are getting the +1 level to supported Chaos skill gems. But you actually don't need to have level 5 to have it, because my bow gives me +2 to Scorched support gems and +1 to Scorched gems. So if you look at it, it has level 5. So in the end, it actually only needs to be level 2, and with +3 to skill gems, and I can actually show you because I have it right now. As you can see, this is level 2, and it doesn't have +1 to gems, and when I equip it, now it has +1 to supported Chaos skill gems. So I would highly recommend, if you're gonna use Awaken Void Manipulation, to have at least level 2. Because of that, I am keeping level 2 in my tab, and I am leveling this one, and when it reaches level 5, I'm gonna just sell it and get a new one. Obviously, I'm losing a little bit of more chaos damage, but I believe money is worth it. And it's the same for Vicious Projectile. As you can see, this is level 4. When I'm gonna reach level 5, I'm gonna sell it, and I'm gonna equip the level 1. And for this, it doesn't matter if you have level 2, there is no new benefit for getting to level 5. Okay, so another item that is for leveling gems is Maloney. You can use a quiver with like chaos damage over time multi and normal damage over time multi, +1 arrows and so on. You can get very powerful rare bows, but I'm going with Maloney because it just lets you level up 3 more gems, and that's basically the strategy for Simulacrums. Just I want to level up as many gems as possible. So, but it's not really that bad of a bow. I am getting 12% attack speed, which is actually pretty nice. Also 70 life and 5% chance to blind enemies on hit, which means I no longer need blind jewel on my searching guy, but I did decide to go for one anyway, because that basically is doubling my chance to blind. And blind is a very powerful mechanic if you have a lot of evasion, so I decided to go for it. Now let's talk about the helmet. So I actually did craft this myself. It did cost me like 80 tries with crafting it with Deft, Aberrant, and Pristine fossils, so 3 fossils. And I ended up with mine. This is obviously a hunter base, it needs to be at least item level 85 with Toxic Rain enchant, and it is a lion pelt, so a lot of evasion. And it actually has a maximum roll of the base evasion. And I ended up with obviously -9 chaos resistances, which is what I wanted the most, and also a little bit of chaos res and open suffix for additional resist, depending on which one I need. And right now I am needing the fire res. And unfortunately it has only tier 6 maximum life, but that's always something. For the amulet, I'm still using Zerfis Heart with Anointed Heart of Darkness. The Corruption will give you more damage if you are actually using Wither Totem and you're getting a lot of Wither stacks, but I am actually not using it. So Heart of Darkness is giving me more damage, and also penetrating 7% chaos res with a wave that has chaos resistances is probably better still than the Corruption. So I do really like minus chaos res for monsters. So I have 9 here and +7 from Heart of Darkness. Eventually I'll probably end up scourging these items because they are unique, so it's gonna be probably the easiest to scourge them first. For the ring, I have Fractured Ring with life, and I crafted it with Essence of Delirium for 15 damage over time multi, and I actually used like I believe 20 of them to finally end up with something decent, which is a suffix 40 lightning resists and open prefix, so I can craft minus mana cost. Because I do need minus mana cost on my rings, so I can use my Toxic Rain when I have a lot of Soul Eater stacks. Empower and Unsettling is just for leveling. Again, just like Maloney, I am using. I would prefer to also have Fractured Unsettling with tier 1 maximum life, but that's not really existing right now. So for now, I am using only one Unsettling, and I bought this one with Despair on hit. I crafted minus mana, and it has a little bit of life. So unfortunately, it doesn't have any resists, but eventually I will probably also upgrade this one. For gloves, chaos damage over time multi, tier 1, and just some resistances and life. This is also probably gonna get upgraded. I would probably want to have Cooling Strike on it, but then I would lose some resist, so probably will be very expensive. And for BV belt, Hunter belt with maximum life and percentage life, and also like nice amount of resistances. This is again still not perfect, only 60 life instead of tier 1, but eventually I will maybe upgrade it. And I also enchanted it. Enchant is actually very powerful. Enemies withered by you have -6 to all resistances. So again, -7, -9, -7, and -6 here. So I actually have a lot of chaos resist penetration, and chaos resist penetration is very hard to find. So it's actually nice that it is on the belt enchant, and I was actually lucky and I got it on my second try of the Uber lab. I believe it is the dedication to the goddess. And the boots I actually didn't upgrade. That's the last like a big upgrade that I need to get. I want to get the boots with tailwind on crit. Obviously we don't have that much crit. It's where is it? I have 5%. Sometimes I have 6 if I have like power charges and so on. So we're not getting tailwind too often, but if you think about it, like I am attacking so fast and so many like projectiles and so on, you actually trigger the tailwind very, very often. So that's gonna be probably my last upgrade. I just ran out of currency and wasn't able to buy it. I do have some currency now, but if I replace it, then I will also have to mess around with my resist and so on. So I prefer to make upgrades in like one big like batch, like one at a time. Also, I am using for swapping, I have a Wither Totem, so when I am fighting just boss above like wave 20 and there's just boss remaining, I am replacing these gems with Wither Totem setup, just so I have increased damage on boss. And for the waves from 1 to 15, I am using Arrow Nova instead of Mirage Archer and Caustic Arrow instead of Toxic Rain. This is just to increase my clear, and waves 1 to 15 are easy enough that my Caustic Arrow is just clearing everything like instantly, so everything is covered in Caustic Arrow. And above wave 15, or when I get a boss, I am swapping back to Toxic Rain. So there's actually a lot of swaps. And I'm thinking that even eventually, if I get maybe like a second character or something, I would even like swap a character above like wave 20, 25. So for example, if I get wave with Chaos Res, I would swap a character to like a physical trapper or something. Or if I get a wave with boss, I just leave with this character and I kill a boss on other character and then just come back here. Because bosses, to be honest, are not really spawning too often above wave 21 from what I noticed. Usually once every like 3-4 waves. So you can spend like decent amount of portals to be able to kill bosses on like a second character that is made to kill bosses. Again, for the jewel, I have blind on hit and just some life. It can still be upgraded, and for Carcass Jack, I do have reduced crit damage. And in the weapon swap, I am using 6 gems on bow and Maloney, so I can level up even more gems. So speaking about gems, I am leveling up. So I'm using Skitterbots, Malevolence, and Grace, and I only need level 2 Enlighten to increase my, reduce the mana cost of them, to be able to use Toxic Rain decently. So I am actually leveling up this Enlighten, and when it reaches level 3, I can sell it and I can put level 2 back in. So I'm leveling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I believe I didn't count this one. So 24 gems, plus also Void Manipulation and Vicious Projectile, so in the end like 26. And when I am using Arrow Nova, it's actually also being leveled up, and 15 waves still did give decent amount of experience, so technically like 27 gems are being leveled up. And the only sockets I decided to not fill with Enlightened and Empower are the things that I feel like I need, which are Steel Skin, just for some additional absorb, because as you can see my life pool is not that big. Dash, Second Wind, Anomalous Second Wind actually, because I do like to have 3 charges. And Blinking Arrow, like this is my biggest survivability, just dash around. And this is also why like when I have a lag, it triggers me so much, because this is my biggest like survivability bonus, and when I can't move because of lag, it actually sucks a lot. And again, my auras and just 6 ink setup, so everything else is just gems being leveled up. And on my tree, I am using obviously Elegant Hubris with Caspiro, Supreme Ostentation to ignore attribute requires, which you need for Zerfis Art. I still have my Cluster Jewel set up with Eternal Suffering, because again I am not using Wither Totem most of the time, so +5 to Wither is pretty nice. And also I don't know if this enchant applies if Totem is applying a Wither, so I am not sure in this case like Totem is it you or not, so I don't really know. So it's also proccing that. Just some Wicked Pole for additional damage and Student of Decay for resists. And it's the same for the second cluster jewel setup, which I got recently. Touch of Cruelty for 10% damage, Wicked Pole, Unholy Grace. You can get one with replacing Unholy Grace with Unspeakable Gifts, which is basically Explode mode, but for now none of them actually exist on a trade, so I'm waiting for one to appear and I will buy it. And you only need one of them just for some exploding clear. It is not like super important, but I would like to have it. And again, Wicked Pole, Student of Decay. And on the small ones, I do have 8% damage over time multi and 7% life on pretty much every single one of them. So here and on my cluster jewels. I am also using the Watcher Eye with 22% damage over time multi while affected by malevolence. Eventually, I would also like to have something else. So I would have still damage over time multi while affected by malevolence, but also, for example, I believe it's 7% chance to evade attacks when you are affected by Grace, which would be actually very insane. Because I do have, with my flasks up, I do have 76% chance. With additional 7, that would be like 83. So it's actually increasing my evade chance by a lot. And obviously with Val Grace, you can get that up to like 95%. And at that point, I actually might end up using the Wind Dancer, because if you have a ton of evasion, Wind Dancer is actually pretty nice mechanic, because you're not really gonna be hit too often, and when you do get hit, you're gonna take 20% less damage. But it is a bit risky if you do actually get hit often. Okay, so I think that's it in terms of the character. Again, I can kill like 20 to 25 waves depending on the mods and if I get boss or not. I still probably want to get more damage and more survivability, because again I lost survivability because I got this cluster jewel setup. I lost like 1000 life. I actually am not even spell suppress cap. With Forbidden Taste I have like 90%. So I still need also some levels. I probably will end up getting maybe some more life or blind effectiveness. I am still not sure about this, and maybe the Wind Dancer again. It's gonna be still a few things to figure out. And for upgrades on my gear, I want boots with Tailwind, gloves with Cooling Strike, a ring with additional socket, so unset. And that's probably it in terms of like a big upgrades. I could also get the flask effectiveness on the belt. That would be like a GG belt. And I still need to craft my flasks a little bit better. And also I would like to have jewels with maximum life, damage multi, and attack speed. But these jewels go for like 2 exalts per, so that's like 10 exalts for if I would replace every single one of them. Probably will end up doing that soon, but yeah, that's gonna be pretty nice. And I am actually overcapped a bit in terms of my resist, so I might end up removing, for example here, I can probably get some more chaos resist instead of fire resist, and then like remove this chaos resist, for example, or maybe some student of decay and get something else. So yeah, I think this build is gonna be able to reach wave 30. It's just not gonna be easy. It's gonna be RNG. It's gonna do it like from time to time, and it still needs a little bit of investment. And today, if you're watching this video during the release, today I am actually gonna end up doing like a one full stream when I'm just doing Simulacrums full day for like 15 hours. I'm probably gonna end up leveling like 3 sets of empowers and enlightens, because you need like 10 to 15 Simulacrums to level it up, depending on how many waves you are doing and how many rewards you are getting. So I hope I am gonna do what I promised to deliver, which is this build and this strategy to be able to farm 1 mirror per day, at least until the mirror becomes like 200 exalts or something, but it's still around 110 right now, so I think it is quite possible to farm 1 mirror per day. So that's what I'm gonna try to do, and I hope tomorrow I'm gonna end up with 2 mirrors instead of 1. And if I do that, I'm gonna make another video with results. So Thanks for watching and see you next time.